Okay, stop me if you've heard this one before. You wake up to your alarm, you lie there in bed, staring at the ceiling for as long as you can, and then you get up because you have to, right? It's what you do. You shower, you get dressed, maybe you eat something, and then you get in your car and you drive to work. You drive to your job that just pays enough to get you to come back tomorrow, right? And then after you're done working, after you're done busting your tail all day, you drive home, you stop at the same restaurant, you buy the same food, you come home, you sit down on the couch, you scroll through the same videos on YouTube on your phone, and yet while you have the TV playing in the background, and then you do that until you have to go to bed, right? Same time, and you got to get up and do it the next day, and you do it again and again and again, day after day, week after week, month after month, and year after year. Until one night, this question, it rises up out of nowhere. What's the point anymore? What's the point? And I need you to hear me out. When you ask what's the point, the world hears a complaint. They hear a guy that's, at the very least, he's burnt out, a guy who needs a vacation or a hobby or motivation, right? It's a lack of motivation. But you and I both know it has nothing to do with any of that, especially motivation. To assume it's a lack of motivation assumes that you forgot your why or something, like your mission statement. You didn't forget why. What you did was you looked at your life. You looked at how every day is the same. It feels like Groundhog's Day. You feel like it's just, and it seems as if it's going to be repeating like this until the end of your life. And that's a terrifying realization to have. And you've spent years doing exactly what you were told to do to get to this point, right? What society told you to do, what your mom and dad told you to do, what your peers told you to do, what your teachers told you to do. But then you got far enough along, and then you finally asked yourself, why am I doing this? Then you asked yourself, what's the point? Sure. Paycheck, yeah. Of course. Paycheck, maybe some approval from those around you. But the feeling that any of it actually meant something, that feeling never existed. You did everything right by societal standards and metrics, and your true reward was just this copy-paste Monday through Friday 9 to 5 TGIF existence. And that isn't enough for you. It's not enough. And you can't understand how it is enough for a lot of people. For a lot of people, that's enough. It's more than enough. But no, it's not in reality. But the point is we're all thrown into this trap. Since birth, you've been conditioned your entire life that the hollow feeling that you're experiencing means that you're not ambitious enough. You need more ambition, right? You haven't achieved enough yet. And so what do? Well, you set out another goal, right? A bigger goal this time. And then you double your efforts and you tell yourself that this is the one that will be different, right? So you end up working extra hours, maybe you get a second job or do a side hustle, right? And you save up and you save up and you work and you work and you toil for months or even a year for this thing that you think, that you believe is what you need, want, or desire. So you put yourself through absolute hell to reach this milestone. And you keep telling yourself, this will be different. This will be the one. And then you finally get it. You finally get there. You're standing in your accomplishment. And yeah, it feels great maybe for a little bit. But just for a little bit. It's fleeting. It goes away. It doesn't stay long. And then you're just right back where you started. Except now you don't have anything to chase. You have nothing to look forward to anymore, and so now it's on to the next one, and then the next one, and the next one, and it's never ending. It's this cycle that keeps repeating. You will never be satiated. Shoot, I mean, Arthur Schopenhauer, he figured this out, like 200 years ago? He said that human beings, they swing like a pendulum between suffering and boredom. And so when you don't have what you want, you suffer. And then when you get it, you're bored. And then you invent a new desire just to escape that boredom over and over and over again. He called it the will to live. So it's this engine inside you that constantly needs problems to solve, constantly. Because without problems, you start asking questions that nobody can answer for you, right? So you keep yourself busy, you keep yourself occupied, you pile on all these new obligations and tasks and goals and biting off more than you can chew, and you delude yourself by thinking that it has nothing to do with anything more than just, oh, you're just ambitious, right? It's that mentality that keeps you in society's good graces. It's that mentality, it's that behavior. But really, you're just terrified of sitting with these questions in silence with no real answers. Humans they hate an open loop. They need to close that loop. They hate unanswered questions. That's what keeps you on YouTube. That's why you're watching this video, because I opened a loop for you that you need closed. But yeah, you're terrified of sitting with these questions in silence with no real answers. And all you know is that the answers are potentially going to mess up your world, right? It's like in The Giver. If you've ever, it came out in 2014 as a movie, but before that it was a book. And so just a quick synopsis is that the people in this society, in this book, they're conditioned. It's this very controlled environment, and it's presented to them as reality, right? They're essentially living in a dystopia, but it's presented as a utopia. It's very similar to, if you've ever seen the movie Equilibrium. It's like that. So each child eventually is presented with their role in society, like just beehive mentality type stuff. And so Jonas, the main character, what he's given is the monumental role of the receiver of memory. So the previous receiver, who is now the giver, he transfers the collective memories of all of human history into Jonas's mind, right? He has this massive download of all of these joyous and painful memories of centuries and eons ago. So he's now awakened to the true reality, and he is completely set apart from everyone else. He has all of this knowledge. He takes on all of this, and nobody is aware of it except for the elders, of course. And they hide all of that from everyone, right? And they keep them into this dystopia. They keep them controlled. And later on, he eventually is disgusted by this, and he eventually flees the community because he wants to save his infant brother Gabriel, and he wants to go what they call beyond the border. It's this place you're not allowed to go, right? And because he wants to save his brother from being what they call being released, which is a euphemism that the elders use for euthanization, right? So they practice essentially eugenics in this society. So once he finally escapes and makes it beyond the border, he finds a literal haven, right? He finds forests and waterfalls and all of this wildlife, and then in the midst of all of that, he finds a glowing cottage where where they're given food and love and celebration. And so I say all of that because when you question your reality, it's the equivalent of going beyond the border. And you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to do that. But it's not because it's dangerous to you. It's because it's dangerous to them. That's my point. And you're slowly figuring that out. So people like you and I don't get to say nothing feels real and receive any form of understanding, at least not from society at large. So, because if you say that to a normie, just watch what happens. They'll look at you like you have 5 heads. They will change the subject real fast. But yeah, I guess maybe saying it out loud, it makes it real to them, and they don't want that. They want to do everything that they can to ignore it because they're too afraid to ask questions and find out the answers, like the true answers, and step out of line and cause waves, right? Or they're a complete NPC, right? They're completely inured with the illusion and they love it. They have no frame of reference or desire to know anything beyond that, beyond what they're programmed to do. So yeah, so you would rather carry the weight of all of that and just keep it to yourself, because what's the point, right? And yeah, it's a hard thing to sit with. You've sat with it. You're still sitting with it. I'm sitting with it. So I want to tell you what nothing feels real actually means. What it means is it's not just a glitch in the matrix. Yeah, it's a glitch, but it's what I believe it is it's a rational response, right? It's a rational response to a completely manufactured and synthetic environment. Like everything you do, every goal that you chase, every problem that you take on, every deadline that you're stressing about is a distraction from the absurdity of existence. You grow up filling your plate with distractions from this absurdity, right? You create conflict. You manufacture a sense of urgency. You take on troubles that are self-inflicted but subconscious. Because having a reason to get up in the morning, it feels way better than admitting that you don't have one. And what I'm describing in this video is nothing to do with nihilism. I'm describing the mechanism that keeps you running on the treadmill that society has presented to you as the only option, or the only suitable option, right? So yeah, you work so that you can afford to live, and you live so that you can keep working. It feels circular. You exist to continue your existence. So what's the point, right? Every institution around you has a financial interest in keeping you on that treadmill, right? The news, it needs you to needs to keep you in fear. The algorithm, it needs you to keep scrolling, and the economy, it needs you to keep consuming. And when you step back from that, when you finally pull your head up and out of your ass, you realize that the whole thing it's a construct. It's this constructed mechanism that is really designed just to extract your attention and your labor. And so yes, of course, the natural response is derealization, right? Things, they stop feeling real because most of what surrounds you isn't. Despite what you think, you're seeing clearly for the first time, right? And that newfound clarity in a world that's built on illusions, it makes you feel like you're insane. Quite the contrary, you are not insane, okay? And yeah, the question, what's the point anymore? On the surface, it sounds like it's the end of something, but no, it's actually the beginning of something. Every other question you've been answering your whole life, how do I earn more? How do I achieve more? How do I become more impressive? Those were someone else's questions. They were handed to you. The question, what's the point, is yours. You earned it. You earned it by doing everything they said and discovering the hollowness on the other side. Most men never get there. Most men die still chasing the next thing, right? Still believing that the next milestone will finally feel different. You're ahead of them. And I get it. It might not feel like that at first. You might feel lost, but you're not. What you're seeing is a framework for living that was never built for you. And for the very first time, you're asking what you actually want to build and live from. The silence that you're sitting in, the one that feels so unbearable right now, that's the space where real answers live, dude. You've just never been allowed to sit in it before. Yeah, it's terrifying. It's lonely. But staying there with that question instead of running from it, that is the most sane human thing you could ever do. It is. Staying with the hollow promises would be insane. Staying on that treadmill would be insane. So what's the point anymore? The man who sits in that question, who doesn't run from it and lets someone talk him out of it, he is closer to something real than he's ever been before. And yeah, I get it. The silence is loud and it's hard. I know. But the question you're asking, you've earned it. So sit in it as long as you need to. And listen to what it's actually trying to tell you.